Welcome back to r/AholeTax, where jerks get exactly what they deserve in a very satisfying way. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Yes sir, I will be happy to honor your expired coupon." I just remembered this one from a few years back. I work nights at a hotel, and back then the manager would place ads with coupons advertising rooms at a discount. In general, these coupons were a real PITA, which I suppose means pain in the butt. Anyway, they clearly said not valid on weekends or holidays and had expiration dates. I would regularly have to argue with guests because they were trying to use them in violation of the terms. Anyway, one day, this guy comes in and slaps a magazine with one of our coupons down on the desk and stares me down. I sigh internally and look at the coupon. It's a couple of months out of date. Me, our rate for the night is, him,
I know the rate, it says it right there.
He jabs his finger into the magazine, just about punching a hole in our marble counter.
Now you're going to honor this coupon, or I'm going to call my friend who owns the company.
I really want to tell him to go ahead, because if he really knew the owner, he would know that the company is a franchise and each hotel is privately owned. Instead, what I say is, absolutely, sir. You see, what I was going to tell him before he cut me off was that his coupon was out of date and from the height of tourist season. Since the season was over and we had already gotten snow, our regular nightly rate was almost half of what his coupon said. Since he was insistent that I honor it, I saw no reason not to charge him almost double what everyone else was paying. And I know guys, some people are just absolutely crazy about coupons. Some even have these books that have tons of coupons in them. However, as for me, I'm already happy if I can find like a $1 or something coupon for the local pizza delivery service. How is it for you? Do you heavily rely on coupons? Then again, I would say back when I was living in Europe, coupons definitely did make more sense. However, here in Thailand, a lot of things are simply so cheap that you don't really need coupons. And the next one is titled, "I tried to warn him that it was a lot of ice cream." Alright folks, so I work at a local ice cream shop and I really like my job. We are very big on making sure people get what they are paying for, so our scoops are pretty large. A small scoop is probably equivalent to a chain ice cream's medium or large, and we have little size examples with tissue paper to demonstrate. A man comes in with his little girl who is about 6 to 7 years old, and I do my whole spiel on, "Hi, welcome to ice cream shop, let me know if you would like to sample anything." He interrupts me and this is how the conversation ensues. Man,
I'm getting half chocolate and half vanilla for her,
points to kid. Alright, what size would you like for her? We can do half and half flavors for any size. I gesture to the example sizes. Man,
did you not hear me? I'm getting chocolate and vanilla.
Me, okay then. Now this girl looks like she probably would do best with a mini, which is basically a normal small or a small at the most. However, because her dad was such a dick about it, I made a medium, which is a large scoop of 2 flavors. It is pretty large. I handed him the ice cream with a smile and his eyes kind of bulged a little like,
damn, that's a lot of ice cream.
But he didn't say a thing. The medium costs a few dollars more, so very tiny butthole tax, but it was just nice handing his adorable daughter a crap ton of ice cream and charging him more than what she would probably eat. And the next one is titled, "Entitled A-hole misses out on free croissant." Hello, I did not know this existed until a friend who's on Reddit told me, so I decided to make an account to share all my AholeTax stories, and boy, do I have tons. I am pretty new to Reddit as well, so I'm sorry if the formatting is a little off. Okay, I work at a small coffee shop next door to a university faculty. There is a young woman who's a regular at our shop. She is a student, I think doing post-grad but not sure, but she is also an emerging artist. She has been on 3 exhibits around town and our coffee shop has 2 of her works. And she's also a tutor at the university. Since we are next door to the faculty, we offer student and faculty discounts and we have a loyalty card system. Basically, you collect 8 stamps and you get a free drink. You also get 15 cents off your drink if you use a reusable cup. Now, because she's a student but also staff, she has a card issued by the university that gives her extra stuff or discounts in selected shops. This means that when she presents her faculty card in our coffee shops on Mondays, she gets a free pastry, croissant or something like that. A few times she has not been in the mood for the pastry and has asked someone in the line if they would like her free pastry. I still had not seen anyone refuse because, well, it is free food. So she came in today as usual and asked for her usual. Since it is Monday, I ask her if she wants her pastry and she says no, and then turns around to this man standing behind her on the line. He was on his phone, so she very politely says, "Excuse me, sir, would you..." The man looked up at her, eyed her up and down and said very loudly,
If you don't have the money for a coffee, don't go to a coffee shop and expect someone else to pay for you. Students these days are so entitled, they expect everyone around them to pay for their crap.
He is going off, but my regular, who has not betted an eye this whole time, ignores him and asks the lady behind him if she would like a free croissant, as she's getting one but won't eat it. Of course the lady accepts. The butthole's face was priceless. He tried convincing me to give him a free croissant after my regular had already left. I said no and charged him the extra 15 cents on top of it all because he did not bring a reusable cup. And the next one is titled, "Go ahead and call the cops. Excellent choice, sir." I work as a security supervisor for a property management company here. This happened yesterday where I was covering for an associate that booked off at the last minute. The building I was at is high-end condominium. This is one of the sites that falls under the area I was assigned to and had to cover the person's duties until dispatch could find someone to fill the shift for the rest of the night. I got there at around 3 p.m. in the afternoon and I was expecting to be out by 6. Now, due to the ongoing pandemic, a lot of condominiums have their amenities, gym, pool, games rooms, screening rooms, etc. closed because it costs too much for buildings to sanitize these areas every hour and it is hard to limit the number of people in at once. In comes a real estate agent to show a few units that are up for sale. Potential buyer following closely, they both go to the units that are for sale, spend a considerable amount of time in each. I see them through the cameras in one of the elevators trying to press the floor where all the amenities are. No luck since it is locked down to everyone. Well, after trying for a few minutes, they give up and return to the main floor. Now I am expecting that the viewing is done and they were going to leave. Wrong. The agent walks up to me and tells me to unlock that floor. No asks, tells in probably one of the most demeaning tones I've ever heard. This annoys me a little bit, but I keep my calm and politely explain to him that the amenities are locked down and no one is allowed to be on that floor. Apparently he was offended by my explanation and started swearing at me, literally ordering me to unlock the amenities or else he would go to a random floor and take the stairs to the amenities floor, break the lock and enter the amenities. At this point my politeness jumped off a roof, told him that doing such will be considered trespassing and I would be forced to call the police. Our company has a no hands-on policy since I cannot physically throw them out without losing my job. Then I hear the client say,
"Go ahead and call the cops."
Not even 5 seconds after he said it, I dialed 911 and explained to the operator that I was being verbally abused, threatened, and the people doing so were just about to damage property while trying to trespass to a locked-down part of the building. Approximately 5 minutes after I hung up on the operator, I see 2 officers walking in. They talk to me first since I placed the call and tell them everything that has happened up until their arrival. The other officer then talks to the agent and the client who tells them that it was me who threatened them and was being racist. Okay, I pull up all the video footage of the last 20 minutes or so and show it to the cops. The footage that includes audio, one of the officers smiles while watching the footage and I also have a grin. The officer asks for the real estate agent's broker license, clicks pictures of it, gets his information and tells him that this footage and report will be sent to the real estate board in my city. Then he turns to the client and tells him that he should not buy the condo in this building. The client asks why and is told that he is banned from this property and would not be able to return. All I did was call the police like the client asked. And guys, if you have watched until here, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we are very close to 34,000 subscribers and it would be lovely to reach that. In addition, it would be awesome if you could post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video. Thank you so much in advance for your support. And the next one is titled, "Give us more money or we will evict you." Go ahead. A few years ago, my best friend and I rented a tiny 2-bedroom flat together. This place was kind of terrible. My friend's room had a hole cut into the wall, so the last foot of the bed would fit. This became a mantelpiece in the next room. The kitchen was the size of a child's playhouse kitchen, and the upstairs neighbors spent all hours of the day and nights screaming at each other or having loud intercourse. But we were mostly happy because we were overliving with 6+ other people. But we paid £75 a week each plus bills for this place, which was pretty standard for a 2-bedroom flat in our area. And then 6 months into our 1-year contract, the landlord sold the terraced house, our flat and 5 others, was apart to a middle-aged married couple who were first-time landlords. They were the kind of people who thought they were smarter than everybody else, and I got the impression that they thought property management was going to be the easiest thing ever. We had no problem throughout the sale process. We were assured nothing would change. We did not interact much with the landlord before anyway, and then 2 weeks after the sale, we got an email from the couple saying that we owed them £20 each more a week. Basically, in our contract it stated our rent was £75 each a week about 10 times, but there was one typo where it said our rent was £95 each, so they said they could legally charge us £95. We laughed at this, but when it became clear they were serious, we reached out to the letting agent and got them to put in writing that it was a typo. Our rent was always £75, and they even gave us the original advert for the flat with the correct rent on it. We thought this would be the end of it. We were wrong. The couple insisted on coming to our flat for an in-person meeting. When they got there, they said they asked the old landlord about it, and he was shocked that we had not been paying enough for 6 months now, and the rent was always £95. I did not buy this because they had nothing in writing, but I made the argument that of course he would say that because he wouldn't want it to seem like he sold under false pretenses, and if we had been underpaying by a total of like £160 a month, why had he never spoken to us about it? They said that he was a busy guy with too many properties, and then the husband spent ages condescendingly explaining mortgages to us. Then they declared that if we did not start paying them the higher rent, they would evict us, and we had 24 hours to pay or 30 days to get out, and they left. Honestly, I think they saw 2 22-year-old girls and thought they could scare us into paying more money. What they did not know is that my friend and I are very pleasant until you piss us off and we become vindictive people. We decided that night that if they wanted to evict us from this crap hole, we were gonna make them do it properly, and if they were so pedantic about contracts and rules, we were going to stop letting anything slide. The couple woke up the next morning with an email from our lawyer, my flatmate's brother, a bored lawyer with time on his hands, requesting a formal eviction notice in writing and laying out a record of last night's conversation. Thing was, they did not actually have legal grounds to evict us, because even if we went to court and a judge favored their interpretation of the contract, we were advised this was unlikely, we still did not owe them more than a month's rent, which would have been their only legal way of evicting us because we were otherwise great tenants. By 9:15 AM they were ringing us, but we ignored them and emailed that our lawyer had advised us to only communicate in writing. We then sent an email informing them that the fancy new front door they just installed could not be unlocked from the inside without a key, which violated fire safety laws, and unfortunately, if this wasn't rectified ASAP, we would have to report it. We then sent texts that showed them repeatedly entering our flat with less than 24 hours notice, and did they know that this was illegal? Maybe we should talk to the other tenants, because if they are doing this to everyone, then this could be quite a problem. After about 3 days of this, we received a very nice email saying that they don't agree our rent was supposed to be £75 each a week, but they would graciously allow us to finish out our contract at that rate. By this point we had found a flat triple the size for £80 each a week and wanted out of that hamster cage, so we offered to move if they signed mutual surrender forms. They eagerly agreed. The best part was that they stubbornly tried to rent that flat at the higher rate despite us telling them it was a terrible idea and the flat was empty for over a year. And because they had agreed to end our contract early, they got stuck paying the council tax, not me. The next one is gonna be from r/nuclear revenge and is titled "Supervisor takes credit for my work, I cause entire production to shut down." I started working in a machine shop after I finished school with a 2-year degree in machining. Learned all kinds of programming techniques that could make most machines that were less than 30 years old perform moves and output measurements of parts currently in the machine to automatically perform quality control. This greatly increases quality of parts as well as reduce waste and human error. I also learned many tricks along the way to make sure that my work could not be stolen. It is my first day on the machine shop floor and I immediately noticed inefficiencies in all the machines in my station. We had to manually perform quality control, sacrificing production time, while also leaving tons of room for human error due to the poor quality of measuring instruments in the shop. I am new and eager to prove I'm worth more than the original pay they offered. I told my supervisor to let me spend an hour to add a line of code to a machine to demonstrate my skills I learned in school that would immediately cut scrap/waste down by a large portion without slowing production rates on the line. My immediate supervisor humored me, thinking I was BSing him to try and brown-nose the engineers and lead programmers so I could get brownie points or something. Quick backstory to note, I had 0 experience in a production plant and said supervisor had 30 years experience in the field. He had a very proud attitude and genuinely worked very hard to learn what he knew. He was decent to work with, but when I asked questions about some of the basics on this machine, like how to get to the program so I could edit it, he would block my view of what he was doing and get to the end result quickly without explaining the process. Being new and wanting to learn, I would always ask to have him show me what he did. He always refused and claimed it was his way of securing his job. Anyway, I programmed the function into the machine in about 2 hours 40 minutes, and when it comes time to demonstrate the process, it catches a part that is out of tolerances according to the blueprint. I also programmed the machine to output different messages providing instructions to whoever the operator was on ways to resolve the issue if the part could not be salvaged, or to automatically adjust offsets of the tool that machined the feature that was found to be out of tolerances and rerun said operation and recheck said feature to ensure quality. All of these functions were performed automatically without any input from an operator. This is a pretty magnificent feature to have in production, and my supervisor knew it. The supervisor who observed the demo immediately went to report this to higher-ups who came to view the new feature I had implemented. As the next part was being produced, the quality check move initiated and found that the second part was also bad and output a message to change tools X, Y, and Z. The managers were incredibly surprised that this was all done on an 18-year-old machine, and they looked to my supervisor to ask how he figured it out. Long story short, he took the credit and was given a raise on the spot. It did not register to me that that is what happened until I went to ask if he was going to credit me for my work. He said,
"Yeah, but you gotta put in the time to get to where I'm at. It don't matter that you did the job, because without me, you would have never known how to do your fancy programming in the first place."
The managers had left for the day, so I could not fight my case right then. The next day, I was planning on informing the managers that I was the one who did the programming to do that. The managers were also former machine shop veterans with 20+ years in the workplace and refused to believe me. Not only that, they basically yelled at me for trying to steal credit from someone who has worked their way up in the company and learned everything on their own and not from some school. I went to my station even more pissed now, where I was met by my supervisor. He told me that I needed to go around to all the machines that could perform that function and add it to the code. I said, not without a raise. My code saves you guys tons and brings the bottom line to a level that McDonald's qualified workers could produce infinite numbers of parts with minimal loss. He said if I didn't do it, I would be fired. So I faked my compliance and started to change code on all the machines. If you know anything about programming, you know you can make something function a certain way until a certain value is met and then have it completely change afterwards. This was my job security. So I set the quality check up on 18 machines the first day, then the last 30 that weekend, and the managers were praising the supervisor uncontrollably for his innovation. Well, the programs were all set to operate as normal and do quality checks like I programmed the original machine. However, I programmed the rest of the machines to keep track of a new variable. They would run and self-check just fine until they reached a random number of parts produced, 50 to 500 depending on the production time of the parts run on each machine, where it would then throw up an error code that would only be cleared with a password I had set for it. If a wrong password was provided or someone just hit the enter/reset button, the machine would take its largest tool in the turret and run it rapidly into the solid chuck at maximum RPMs. I made it so about 65 to 75 hours of production would go smoothly before my job security would kick in. It took 3 days for the machines to hit their magic values, but when they did, oh boy, was it magically satisfying. The first machine to crash was making parts for the drive lines of a major motor company. The crash was caused while a new operator was running the machine, who I might add was only hired because the program I made let them hire clueless people into the shop and be able to still produce good parts. When he tried to clear my password code, the lathe started turning at 2500 RPMs with a large heavy drive shaft base in the holder, switched to a huge drill and ran the drill into the holder, causing the tool holder to be knocked off axis, the part holder and tools to be destroyed, as well as cost the company tons to get someone from the machine's maintenance team out to repair it. After the first glorious crash, I menacingly mentioned to the supervisor, "You should check your codes to make sure they are working properly." He went ghost white. Not a second after, 3 more machines simultaneously crash in glorious fashion. He starts to chew me out, saying I am in huge trouble, but as he starts cursing, the managers are there to have him go diagnose the problem with his codes. The supervisor, not wanting to admit he stole my work, doubles down and says confidently,
"I know what the problem is,"
and walks off to the crashed machines. Not a minute after, they turn a corner and more machines start crashing. I just sit idly by and listen to the glorious sounds of my nuclear revenge playing out. A few minutes later, all the workers are told to stop production completely. We are all kept in the shop until they can figure out the problems. This is a 24-hour production facility with 3 shifts of workers coming in 7 days a week, mind you. Our shift is nearly over and we have all been idle for about 7 hours. The next shift comes in and we leave for the day. I hear nothing from the shop, so I just go in the next day as normal. Turns out they tried to fire machines back up during the night shift and 18 more machines crashed like the others. The plant did a formal layoff of most of the workers the next week as they were hemorrhaging money from all the damaged machines on top of labor paid without any production. We filed a class action suit against the company for unemployment, lost vacation time, dangerous work conditions due to the severity of the crashes, etc. The company went bankrupt from the lawsuits and losses in production/machine repairs. The guy who took my credit was obviously fired and had an article in the paper about him sabotaging the company's production. He obviously told them I was responsible for the crashes, but the company found out that the code to my password program was his name. They believed he did this out of spite because he was refused a raise the previous year and his threats to them after his last evaluation. Sucks to suck. Added to all in the comments worried about the innocent workers, they were given 2 months severance pay on top of being able to collect unemployment for 16 weeks. The severance pay outlined by the lawsuit took into account all the benefits the employees had before getting laid off. I do feel guilty that there was collateral damage, however, most of the employees ended up with the equivalent of about 6 months paid vacation. So there is a happy ending. I honestly did not think the company would continue to try and run these machines when all the ones that my supervisor took claim to programming were crashing. That was their fault/greed trying to make money instead of fixing the problems before continuing production, in my opinion. Edit number 2, it was 18 machines the first day and 15 a day the following 2 days. And guys, please let me know in the comments what you think about this insane nuclear revenge story, and furthermore, I'm curious, has anyone ever taken credit for your work at your workplace? Let us know in the comments. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.